smoking, but when they hear this song, they'll learn there's more to toking. 25,000 different things we can make from it, and if we give it a chance, we'll save the blinking planet. Food, fuel and medicine, necessities for life, a benefit to all of us, a wonder and delight. Within this smelly weed, there's more than meets the eye, so much, much more than smoking, it can cleanse our dirty skies. Cannabis, cannabis, we'll save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is a very useful weed. Cannabis, cannabis, we'll save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is very good indeed.
Thank you, Casper. Listeners, good evening. This is Dr. Beth Fisher for Steve Danks and myself at Hemp Works. We are so excited to be here tonight. Steve is at Raw Fest, and when he comes in, we're going to get a full report from him. I am live from Seattle, tonight's guest. First off, let me back up and say good evening, EU. Good afternoon, East Coast. Good morning, West Coast, and early morning to Hawaii and Australia. All right, our special guest tonight is MMJ Muse, where we're going to be talking about seniors and growing and issues of what you need. We're going to talk about the cannabis way tonight, but first we're going to start with some of the news and the in-depth reporting that we did this week. Welcome, Muse. How are you doing?
Good morning, Dr. Fisher. I am doing excellent. Thank you so much for asking. And I'm hoping you're having a hempy day so far.
I sure am. Let's look at the news. Listeners, last Saturday I went up to Seattle's only recreational dispensary, which was Cannabis City, and went there, and there's a sign in the door, and it said, closed, come back July 21st. And I was out there and I was taking pictures and talking. We had people coming in from Calgary, from British Columbia. See, I didn't forget about you guys, not at all. From local area in Seattle, they came to see, they drove all the way down from Calgary just to see recreational cannabis dispensary. They just shook their heads. We talked about prices and how it's the differences on donations from a product or medicine in here, medicine in there. It was really wonderful to see it, but they were as surprised as we were. So this is what we're finding out in the Tacoma area as well, that there are shortages.
They had sold out within 3 days. Within 72 hours, the state of Washington had produced enough cannabis to supply one store for 3 days, and that was it. They ran out and said we'll come back in 10 days.
Well, that may be good, but that didn't help people traveling or booking. Now, that's very different than when we saw in Denver when that happened in January 1. There was product, there was line. Do you believe what the biggest issue is that the distribution, that there were just two different lines of distribution from, say, the medical and the recreation, and the medical side, which, by the way, listeners, Washington's medical cannabis has totally different requirements than the recreational, and that is a really important point to remember. So, Muse, can you talk about why you can't cross from the good to the rec and go from there a little bit?
Yeah, the recreational laws in Washington State are unlike those in Colorado, and they are the only two free states at this point that allow recreational cannabis. It's basically being regulated by the Liquor Control Board, of all people. They were fired from doing that job because they did it poorly, and now they have the task of regulating a substance they know very little about. And because of that, they're very confused. They didn't quite understand the concept of having to grow the cannabis before people could ingest it or smoke it. And because of that, there's supply line issues. On the other side of the equation, we have a well-established medical cannabis system. And it's been in place since 1998. People can grow legally
You mean the medical side?
On the medical side. And it has worked well for decades, since 1998. And unfortunately, the Liquor Control Board in the state of Washington has prohibited that source of quality medicines and cannabis to be fed into the recreational system and sold through the stores. So they're keeping the two systems distinctly apart, and that leaves the stores, frankly, out of product, and they will continue to be out of product for probably the next year or two, and prices are soaring accordingly.
What is, it's a regulated price per ounce in Washington for recreational.
Yes, it is. However, they stack sin tax on top of it at each and every level of the process. So they have a total sin tax of 75%, which adds considerably to the cost for the consumer. And they do it by adding 25% at the producer's side, 25% at the grower side, and then 25% at the retail side. So cumulatively, people who go in and buy recreational are paying 75% sales tax.
And it's hit at 3 different levels.
That's correct.
And those levels are?
Growing, which is tier 1. Production, which is trimming, getting the product ready for sale, pre-packaging, turning it into edibles and concentrates. And then there's tier 3, which is simply the retail distribution.
Okay. All right. But it is, listeners still remember, it is a free state. It's 1 out of 2 currently. We just are so appreciative to be here and to be in this state. Well, let's talk about the people that came that were disappointed. Now, we also interviewed other individuals in the industry and out of the industry and asked them questions like, what is your take on this recreational issue? Will it affect medical patients? One of the responses we had was, the concern is to make sure that the quality of the medicine, of the medical cannabis, follows, and that the needs for the specific strains, substrains, varieties, whatever we're calling it now, that gets ensured, especially for those patients that need very specific traits of those varieties. And that's at least my critical point, to make sure that's the case. Also, another big issue that we've talked about before in other programs is the quality, is the purity of the medicine. Muse, what do you think on that one?
Well, I only grow organically, and I only grow in soil, and so purity is essential. Part of the state process for the recreational is testing it at each phase, so you're going to know exactly what's in it and the purity levels. But I think that those levels already exist within the medical community. I think that the medical growers are growing some of the finest cannabis on the planet, and yet they can't get grandfathered into this recreational. It's just simply the way it is.
It just scratches your head, because you have all these exceptional growers that have to follow the measures of quality and purity, and the recreational side, you can put on anything you want.
Well, and not only that, but these medical growers, such as myself, are trying to put out medicines that will help their patients and make a difference and provide them at a cost point that is effective and cheap, and so that our patients can afford to get the medicines. And that system is working well. Unfortunately, the state of Washington has exceeded its mandate in I-502, which is the recreational law, and they've now stepped into medical cannabis, and they're telling medical cannabis users that they may have to restrict their plant growing from 15 plants to 6 plants in Washington. And if that's the case, it simply wouldn't be viable to take care of your patients or your own needs if you were dealing with some serious health issues. So I went to Olympia and I testified against House Bill 2149. But there is still significant pushback in the community, and medical cannabis, the future of medical cannabis, is in doubt right now in Washington State.
Well, it is a much better system, a pure system. And legislators in Washington, you need to know, you need to take a look at your country cousins down in New Mexico, because they are going through a severe shortage. They were warned about it a year ago in New Mexico, and they did nothing. In fact, they did damage. And folks, Time for Hemp's radio conglomerate network that we love, 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 has Larry Love, LS Love on there on the network. And listeners, if you want to hear what's going on in New Mexico specifically, go right into his program, because he gets it there. He's testified. You'll hear excerpts of his programs, of the testifying, even from own state legislators in New Mexico saying, why did you mess with the law that I helped to write? I knew it, I wrote it, and I'm testifying for these patients. It's an incredible interviews. The Time for Hemp has it all. It really, it's just an incredible, and we can't wait to have Time for Hemp coming up to Hemp Fest. We will see you there. Let's get back to that. So we've got New Mexico saying shortage, running out. Okay.
That's right.
Now, see, Washington needs to know that this is what's going to happen. You have these shortages because you have people running, as you said, that the Liquor Control Board not knowing what kind of supplies they'd need, not knowing what numbers. Now, that's really indicative of a conversation I had with someone talking about the New Jersey grow and the Southern New Jersey dispensary, which is so far away, you don't even want to know. I mean, it's like on the country. It was one of Trump's old buildings, and it's so far out, and it's a massive building. And I was there, and I've taken pictures. But in that conversation, when they were speaking with someone that they wanted to go a little bit further on growing-wise, that the people that own the dispensary and were given permission from the governor, now this is the important part, to grow medically. They looked at him and they said that they wanted how many seeds they would approve for 1,000 plants, so they would need 1,000 seeds. Okay, I'm going to give you time to laugh, choke, whatever, because those of you who've grown, you know that that's just insane, that they really did not understand how to grow or what to grow. So New Mexico, Washington, these state legislators, you have this extreme responsibility. And Chris, we know you're out there in Washington. We're going to get to you real soon. You can talk about these issues. It's real critical, listeners, that you understand if you're going to go and you're going to listen to these testimonies and you're going to go to these meetings, that those legislators need to understand they do not need to operate in isolation.
No,
all they need to do is just look at what other states and what other countries are doing. It's right there, right in front of them. What do you think, Muse?
I absolutely agree. They need to learn from the mistakes of other states, and they need to pay attention to what's going on, and they need to learn more about cannabis in order to regulate it properly.
Mm-hmm. And Senior Medical Cannabis can help you. We can take you to either Denver or Seattle, and we can walk you through this, legislators. It's not sinful. Let's get you educated. Absolutely. That's the most important thing. All right, what else is going on in national news? What about D.C.? About time. Congratulations to those in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now our Congress people and senators, they can all get high and just get a ticket.
Oh, no, they were getting away with it a long time ago. It's Rome. It's Rome. You know. But the everyday people, if you get busted with less than an ounce now, it's a ticket. It's a fine. It's probably less than not having the appropriate tags on, having expired tags.
Oh, I know that for a fact.
You do?
Okay.
Well, you see.
Do that. I know.
Did you get a $25 fine?
I got a $200 fine for not having the right sticker on my tag.
Well, then the sticker you need to have
yet
says,
I could have an ounce of
Amen.
Cannabis
Amen.
in Washington, D.C., the capital of our fine nation. And they'll just hit me with a $20 fine, $25 fine, and I assume that's only if they're feeling a little bit cranky that day.
Well, let's make it so. Read a post last week in California out of Lanny Swerdall, and once again, Lanny's on the Time for Hemp Network, And he went ahead and said, and he reported at a conference, a cannabis conference, it was a concentrate conference, that the police came in, they walked around, they looked, and they walked out again. And he said that's way different than last year, that they were wondering if it would be closed down. So times are changing slowly in increments, bit by bit. So instead, we used to say 1 step forward, 2 steps back in this movement. I think it's about 1 to 1, and we're kind of edging over. We still have lots of battles, but we know that it's going to come through. Now, when we come back, we will go ahead and we will talk about this new topic we've got going that we're working through, growing as at the senior level. So, Casper, are you ready to take it away? Thank you.
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
THCF Medical Clinics are the premier physicians clinic in the United States. THCF has offices all across the United States from Hawaii to Michigan. THCF Medical Clinics has helped approximately 150,000 patients obtain their medical marijuana permits to legally possess, grow, and use medical marijuana. If you have chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, or any other neurological degenerative disease, or if you have any gastrointestinal disorders such as GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, or if you have AIDS, cancer, spastic disorders, seizure disorders, or glaucoma, call us at 1-800-723-0188 or visit us online at hemp.org. Again, the number is 1-800-723-0188 and the site is hemp.org.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill.
Legalize it, yeah.
Relax. And burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com. Or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Education and information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for hemp. It's time for hemp.
rise. Cannabis, cannabis will save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is a very useful weed. Cannabis, cannabis will save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is very good indeed.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Tony Macaroni, Tony Macaroni, Tony Macaroni. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that song.
I love that song. I sing it in my sleep. I love it so much. All right, folks, we're going to come back and we're going to change it up a little bit. I want to talk today about something I truly love, seniors and growing. This is really, really, really going to become an increasingly important topic for seniors as the prices on cannabis, medical or recreational, go through the roof, looking at issues of purity, of potency. So seniors are beginning to thinking about growing. If you're in an environment where you first and foremost need to be making sure that you can legally grow there. Home cultivation is the most biggest issue in states' rights right now when it comes to cannabis laws. Make sure that it is in there. If you're testifying, if you're creating, put home cultivation. It will make sure that the people get to free the weed. So that's first and foremost that you do that. Secondly, make sure that you can grow there. Third, now saying that, I know that people will grow wherever they can grow. I'm just saying it that way. All right, the third thing that you need to take a look at is the physical location and what you need. Now, but for seniors, you have other issues. You have issues of bending, lifting, and things like that. So, Muse, what would you say the top 3 things for seniors who begin to grow to really take a look at some of the modifications, what will help seniors be able to have an effective grow?
Well, I think you have to first decide if you have the health and have the energy to put into a grow, because what you get out of it is directly proportional to what you put in. So you really have to make that decision first and foremost. Do I have the time to do some gardening and take care of my plants so that they can take care of me? And do you want to form a symbiotic relationship with these little girls that are providing so much to you? I think that you really need a love for this plant in order to see her thrive, but that any person can grow if they keep it simple and if they follow some basic steps. And there are ways to modify a grow to make it easier as you get older. I've been growing for 45 years. I'm a soil grower, and as far as I know, the 50-pound bags that I tossed around 40 years ago still weigh 50 pounds today. So we have to find ways to make it easier for those of us who are aging or have other problems to move these things around. And we're developing ways to do just that.
Mm-hmm. So, Muse, are you suggesting that those over 50 take a look at not necessarily doing a home grow in the basement, but doing where they've got to keep going up and down on those stairs, but maybe look at a main floor grow?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen some very productive, what we call closet grows. They don't need to be large. If you can grow a plant that produces 2 pounds or 3 pounds, that's 2 grams per watt or 3 grams per watt, then no matter what the plant count is lowered to, you'd still be able to produce enough medicine for you and any patients that might be a caregiver for, and quality medicines at that.
Sounds good. Tell me about the tools that you have for lighting that are good for seniors.
Well, there are a lot of great things out there. We used to call them yo-yos or bolos, but in essence, they're pulley systems that you can pull with one hand, and you can raise and lower your reflectors, your lighting, so that it's not too high above the little plants so that they stretch out, or it's not so close to them that they burn. And with one hand, you can be carrying food to feed them, and with the other hand, you can adjust the height of the lamp. That's an easy way to avoid chains and ropes and the other kinds of things that take a few hands and a little bit of effort to do. You can also use plastic buckets, and you can attach wheels to them. And
Well, let's stop for a second, Muse. Listeners, you need to understand that we're talking about 5, 10, even 15-gallon buckets. Thinking about the weight of water and soil in there. So you're looking at putting wheels. Now, are these buckets that you've already purchased? I mean, because I don't think I've ever seen industrial size 15 gallons with wheels that aren't going to run me $200, Muse.
No, they're expensive. If you can even find them on the market, it's something that you learn over the years, and it's just one of those tricks that makes your life easier. There are other ways to make yourself more mobile within the garden. And actually, we're looking at ways to share this information now, and we're gathering it up, and we're going to publish it in such a way that people that are older or maybe a little bit disabled, or perhaps they just want to learn how to garden efficiently and grow beautiful flowers with a little bit of ease and a little bit less sweat. And we can help them do that. So we're gathering up all these little tricks we've learned over the years, and we're going to share all those because we believe that all knowledge should be shared freely.
There you go. Contact Muse at MMJ Muse on Facebook for more questions or answering on consulting. The Muse does that as well. I really like that you've encouraged senior growers to always have a table off to the side, a height table for mixing, for storing, having things marked, treat it as your garden shed. Make sure things are clearly marked, that where you need to go, and you're not having to bend or stoop. Those are the really big things. What I've seen also are that there are big water tanks that you will use, that you'd have a pumping system, and that can be done. Can you touch base on that, Muse, for watering?
Absolutely, yeah. There's a number of things you want when you have water. You want to filter it to get the chlorine out, and before you give it to your plants, you want to make sure that the pH is balanced to around 6.4. And so a very good way to do that is to run it through a filter and put it into a 55-gallon food-grade plastic drum and save it in a reservoir situation. This allows any particulate matter to settle out, and anything left that the filter didn't clean. You then have a reservoir of fresh pH'd water ready to go, and you only need to adjust it if you add some nutrients.
Mm-hmm. If you are short, though, like I am,
then it's a problem.
All right, so then you need to go with that 38-gallon.
No, there are 32-gallon trash containers that if you're a little shorter in stature, Dr. Fisher, then you can go with that, or you could get a step stool to help you climb up. But if you fall into the 55-gallon drum and you can't get out, then you know what, you could have a little bit of a problem.
I'm going to call you. That's what I'm going to do.
That's exactly.
But it does make a difference. So if you are short and you do think about that 55-gallon drum, and I'm thinking listeners of a husband and wife team, one's tall, one's short, that 55-gallon drum, I'm a little unsteady stepping on a one-step stoop. So I've learned how to reach down. But if you're any shorter than that, you need a lower you need a 32-gallon. You need one a little less gallons in there.
You know what? It's all about adapting the garden to you rather than adapting yourself to the garden. And it's all about the love of the plant. So you want to just create an environment that's organized. It's you know where your things are. You can go in there in the dark if you happen to have a power outage, as we did this week. And you go down there, and by feel, you know where everything is. And it becomes a very, very easy and low-maintenance routine. And then you do not need to depend on the vagaries of the market pricing. And as you know, and as you had said just a few moments ago, the prices in Washington are soaring. They're going to be soaring in all the legal states. And that's going to take up the price of medical cannabis and black market cannabis as well.
Oh, we like to call that off the grid.
Well, we'll call it off the grid. We'll call it off the grid because it is the off the grid market.
And to the off the grid growers, thank you for all the years that you've had to do what you've had to do. That there's no doubt about it.
That's
so,
right.
and to all the legal ones on the grid, thank you for doing all that you've done for all those years for us. You grow. You have a hard job every day. You're there. You never miss. The girls come first, and we really, really, really appreciate it.
I really appreciate the ones that give back to the community. I really do. The ones that produce, and we just saw an instance of this come by in the news today, where in Berkeley, California, the Berkeley City Council has basically passed a new regulation mandating free medical cannabis for any citizens earning less than $32,000 a year living within that city's limits. And I think that that's wonderful. I think that this is a way of giving to patients in a sensible manner. I believe that the way they set it up was to set up basically a 2% surtax on the existing dispensaries so that they had a set-aside of medicines equal to what they were selling to their patients, and those medicines were then to be distributed to the poor of Berkeley. I think this is wonderful. This is another example of the big hearts that we find within the cannabis community.
And big hearts in Berkeley, California. Thank you. Thank you, Berkeley. We know that you have a cannabis committee there. We thank you. You guys do great stuff. I want to give a little shout out to the Berkeley Patients Group, because they've really been there. They're there for patients. They're there for the community. So we really like what they're doing over in Berkeley. We also have a little concern this week about the Los Angeles Farmers Market closed. They said that there should be no multiple vendors, and so essentially it's just an outdoor dispensary of one. All right, LA, what is wrong with you?
We have them up and down the coast. These are collectives of their farmers markets, multiple dispensaries by definition, and Los Angeles chose to see it differently.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you, I like to go to the farmers market. From Tacoma to Portland, from Seattle to Northern Cal. The farmers market's where it's really wonderful. You can interact with the farmer. You can talk what's been going on. It's a casual. It's a very open and friendly environment, and that's the way it should be. If we put it into any other frame of mind, it's a plant. We're selling. You're exchanging, donating, whatever word you're going to use in whatever state you are. It's an exchange, and we really appreciate that the growers are out there and that they're helping to make our medicine. Okay. What else is going on? Can I pull you back into that growing for a second?
Absolutely.
I really want to talk about scheduling and organizing. I think it's really important for seniors. If you're going to do this, I really want you to take a look at the funds you have. Just don't jump up because you had someone say, let's do it. I want you to calculate. What I really want you to do is I want you to start with a fantasy grow. Take your budget, throw it out for a second, do all the research you can on what would be a productive grow. Just create a fantasy grow. See what you need. Do SimCity, whatever you would do on it, just create it. Paper and pencil, computerized, it doesn't matter. Do it. Look at your costs. Look at what you're going to need. Set up a grow. When are you going to have to water? Do your scheduling and mentally take a look at what it's going to do to be anywhere from a 12 to 14 week. The next issue you're going to have to look at is you're going to have to take away that vacation going away time. You're going to have to be there for the girls. So you're going to have to, if you like to vacation in Florida, maybe the best time that you want to grow for those that are on the East Coast and in the Midwest, maybe what you'll do is you'll do a really full grow when you get back from April. You could get 2 in there foreseeably between April and October. So you do 2 short grows and you'd have enough medicine for the rest of the year.
Well, yeah, you could certainly do that, and there are a number of other routes to go. I mean, I'm a soil grower, but you can always set up a hydroponic system. Many people do it, especially senior citizens and people with disabilities, because they're easier. They're low maintenance. Once you set them up, there is a little bit more initial cost, but once you set them up, they run, and you check them once a week. And I mean, the more time you put into them, the more you get back out. But essentially, they're lower maintenance. You need to monitor them, but you really only do work. Well, you do work less often and less of it.
But what's the results of it?
Well, the results of it can be very high quality hydroponic cannabis. I think that there's levels of potency and quality, and I just don't think that you can get them in a nutrient bath as you would have grown from soil. I just when you judge events like I do, and when you're into the nuances of the terpenes and the flavors, the essences, and in fact are a sommelier of cannabis, you begin to know that it does matter, and that the nuances from hydroponics simply don't make it. Soil's the way to go. Soiled oil, baby.
There you
Soiled
go.
oil.
And with that, we wanted to give a hi to Jonah Tacoma. We took some stuff over to him last week and did some shatter with M&M shatter by mistake. But for
Don't
personal use, don't ask, but it was wonderful. All right, when we come back, the last segment, we are going to go over, we're going to talk about Dab Stars, we're going to talk about the reviews we've been doing. We're just going to give closure, and we're going to make it work. Well, hopefully Steve will be joining us, and we'll be learning about Rawfest. Take it away, Casper.
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
If you are in the Portland, Oregon area and are an OMMP card holder, then come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market, Portland, Oregon's first and only weekly OMMP market, presented by the Alternative Wellness Center, located at 5241 Southeast 72nd Avenue, 2 blocks south of Foster Boulevard, close to public transportation, held every Sunday 10 a.m. till 7 p.m., connecting quality vendors with patients. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market also has a weekly raffle with products from every vendor. So come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market and have fun while connecting with quality vendors and getting great natural medicine. If you are a vendor and want a chance to connect with OMMP patients, you can check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/Alternative Wellness Center or call 971-888-4392. Be sure to register early because space is limited. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill. Relax and burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com. Or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Free? Did you say free? Free hemp? Free hemp? Free hemp video and audio? Free downloads of all the top artists, all the pot artists on planet Earth. Interviews with all the people making the movement, making the hemp movement. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp.
Thank you, Casper, and thank you, listeners. We are so excited that at Hemp Fest, that Time for Hemp was going to be the largest media presence at Hemp Fest. That is incredible. The majority of our speakers are either going to be in presentations, Casper's going to be walking around, and we're going from there. We've just heard from Casper that Steve's signal was lost at Raw Fest. Steve, if you can hear us, we love you, and we know we're sending our love. Absolutely. Last segment, Muse. Do you have any shout-outs?
Well, I'd like to shout out to Jonah Tacoma and his awesome group Dab Stars. They are amazing. They make some of the finest concentrates in the Pacific Northwest. These guys are at all the festivals. He's a really nice family guy. I had the pleasure of going down there. As you know, yes, we went down there and we met with this master of extractions, and he made some beautiful, beautiful concentrates for us. And every batch was delicious. One of them in particular came out a little odd because I had, I guess, dropped a blue M&M into the cannabis, and I mean, what can I say? I am a patient as well as a caregiver, and I dropped an M&M in there, so now we have chocolate dab, and surprisingly, it's everybody's favorite. Go figure.
Go figure that a mistake like that would be there. So yep. To Jonah Tacoma. Jonah, we thank you. Jonah, if you want to know who he has got the terrific 2-story scaffolding. I think he's in St. Louis this weekend. He is the man that causes all the excitement and energy to go out to the crowds. He is the one. So just
look for the Pied Piper and all the people following him around the festival.
He chases, he throws, he inspires, he motivates. So can't wait for him to see him and his best in Hemp Works. Okay, at Hemp Fest. Muse, let's talk about this big issue. Out from the Huffington Post, we put legalizing MG should be top security objective. You know what? If it's a top security objective, let's look at home cultivation. Let's go right down there. They are looking at, we have to keep this supply safe. Well, you keep the supply safe by freeing it, by letting anyone who wants to grow. Parents want to grow for their kids, great. Seniors want to grow.
Free the leaf.
Free it. Why would you worry about security if everybody has it? Is there a yogurt security? Really? Is there a basil security?
No. If everybody grows it, then you take out any incentive for crime. If it's no longer against the law to possess or consume, then, stay out of our houses. Let us grow it, and we'll worry about keeping up our supplies and the quality of our supplies. And the people who know nothing about cannabis, well, they can go regulate alcohol again or any other substance they choose, but they should probably stay away from cannabis.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I believe that if a politician is going to start to make laws on cannabis, then they need to be cannabinoid sufficient.
Absolutely.
So we picked up drug tests at the marijuana drug test at the dollar store.
Yes, we did.
So the next time, go grab yourselves a box, listeners. And the next time some legislator, some politician running for office says he's pro-cannabis, just hand him the box and say, really?
Say, piss on the stick, brother, and show us that you've got cannabinoids in your system, because we have found out in recent studies that the body has cannabinoid receptors and that you cannot have true genetic health without cannabinoids in your system. And we can't have people advocating for cannabis and for all of our rights if they don't understand them, and how can they understand them if they've never even tried them? So yeah, let's drug test our employees to make sure they're all cannabinoid full, and let's test any politician who says that they're pro-cannabis. If they're pro-cannabis, let them prove it.
That's right, because you're either using it prophylactically, preventatively, or medicinally,
or palliatively.
Let's look at the benefits of it. Even ointments for your arthritic hands. That is making sure you're getting the correct cannabinoid measure.
I get so much help from those.
Absolutely, those topicals are wonderful for seniors. Okay, let's go ahead and jump from there and make that tie from the national security down to New York City. Is it New York State?
Yeah, no, it's actually New York City, and the problem is that in many ways this war's been won, and we're in a mop-up operation. The government is positioning itself to cash in on this, of course, but the fact is we've got 2 legal states, we've got the 22 medical states, and we've got the District of Columbia, and now with canna-tourism, people who are very sick and on chemo and suffering from lupus or CNS disorders in other states are going to say, enough. This is the United States of America. We are one country united, and we all share the same rights and privileges. And I shouldn't be sitting here watching my wife puke from the chemotherapy when I know that across the state line you can buy a little bit of pot that will take that nausea away and give your wife some relief from the suffering. It's simply patently unfair, and in this country that will not stand. We've seen it before in other human rights issues, and take my word, this is a human rights issue. So I think that we're going to see a very rapid move towards legalization. I would prefer the repeal of prohibition, but this is coming, and the government is issuing patents for cannabinoids in medicinal use, which is in direct contradiction with the DEA's position that it has absolutely no medicinal use. So the end game is in play, and it's now about getting it right and setting templates for the other states, and helping these uninformed legislators carry forth the wishes of the people, which is the free availability of cannabis in Washington State and in Colorado and in more states to come.
And in punitive MMJ states, if I may add, Muse, like Michigan, like Jersey, now beginning like New York, Illinois, where you're messing around with that, the people are going to be doing what they've done in Jersey. They're going to begin filing lawsuits, class action lawsuits against you. So you need to understand that if you do it right, you free it. You just make it available. You will see that your state coffers are quickly overflowing. You're just caught up in greed, and you need to understand that it's a medicine. And when you think of it that way, you're fine. Recreational, it's still all medicine. If you need it and you're using it, there is part of your body that says, I have this need, and this is how I want it, and have need to fill it. Yes.
That's right.
Well, it's better than studying.
Well, no, I won't start you on that, but it's a craving, and it's because you're cannabinoid deficient. And what we're seeing, back to your point, Doctor, is that there's a hodgepodge of laws across the country, and in New York City, the district attorney is saying one thing, the police are saying another. So even the
kind of what we have now at nationally, right?
Exactly. From the
see?
national level down to one of the largest cities in the world, they can't agree within their own prosecutorial and police enforcement departments on how to proceed on cannabis. They are at a dead standstill, and so it's not only according to recent reports an important security issue. It's also important nationally, and they are still working out the details.
Well, there you go. You need to remember to do it right, and you'll be fine. Come call us. Either call myself, Dr. Beth Fisher, at seniormedicalcannabis@gmail.com, or call the Muse at MMJ Muse at Facebook, and we will help you. All right, we are finished for the week.
I would like to thank Steve Danks.
We thank him. We thank him. We love him. We love him. He will be back on Monday. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Casper. See you at Hemp Fest. Woo!